The format for Regulation F has just been announced, and I want to go over what we know and take a brief look at some of the confirmed returning Pokemon in the Indigo Disc. So to kick things off here, we're going to take a quick look at Victory Road's post. As we can see here, it says VGC Regulation Set F. The Regulation Set F details have been announced. It will run from January 4th to April 30th. Now, the reason this is very big is because this is our first 4-month season for the entirety of Scarlet and Violet, basically. You know, Series 1, I think, was like a month. Series 2 might have only been 2 months, and then after that, I think we went to 3. I do think that's about right, roughly. The other really interesting thing too that I think is this does kind of lead us into what I assumed would happen, which would be a 4-month format into another 4-month format, because then if we have back-to-back 4-month formats, that should then take us into Worlds, where we will then post Worlds, assumingly we would get the restricted format. And then also it goes on to say, Pokemon found in DLC Part 2, the Indigo Disc will be eligible. To me, basically, all this like really says is anything you can catch in the DLC will, you know, be legal, which I'm hoping includes also the Paradox Beasts and also the Paradox Swords of Justice, which I do think is very important. And then it says certain Pokemon are ineligible. This list will be announced December 25th. My assumptions are obviously just the restricted mons. I could potentially see a world where maybe home mons aren't allowed. I would personally love to see that, because I do think one of the biggest issues we have in the current format is the home mons are just too good. You know, mons like Tornadus, Lando, Urshifu, and like even Rillaboom to a certain extent, they're all, you know, pretty damn good. And then it also says that this will be the format for EUIC, which I'm pretty sure we I don't know the exact date for EUIC, but I want to say it's like, is it February or March or something like that? So I think we kind of already knew that would be the case. Anyway, we'll jump over here to Cerebi. Now, Cerebi basically goes on to say everything we kind of just went over, right? Is going from January 4th through to April 30th. Again, it's a 4-month, basically a 4-month series, which is, again, pretty cool. They also give us, you know, basically the list of banned mons. This is basically everything we expected, right? You know, you've got your cover legends, your mythicals, and that's basically it, right? Basically, yeah, it's a mythicals. I mean, Battlebond Greninja, you know, feels bad banned, but I get why, because technically, like, you can't get it unless, what, it was like was it a demo for Gen 7 you needed? But the rest of them, it's to be expected, right? They're all mythicals, you know, Kali Shadow. I don't see, oh, there's Kali Ice, I'm an idiot. But yeah, basically none of them are legal. And then obviously we have the full list here. It does say here as well, you know, this list is tentative, and it will have Pokemon updated basically as more, you know, officially revealed right into the regulation. I do think if you do want to, you know, check this out as well, I've done videos on it in the past, but basically I think it's Pokeos has a great list of basically all Pokemon that have been, you know, data mined / confirmed through other means. So there are more mons that then are just here that we know of. For the sake of for the sake of this video in particular, we're just going to basically go down this list of like what is definitely confirmed and briefly just touch on, you know, some of them, you know, what they can do I think they're going to be good, and you know, all that kind of stuff, right? So obviously to kick things off here, we have Venusaur. Now, for anyone who basically hasn't, who I guess didn't see my run recently at the Brisbane Regionals, I ran a Manual Sun team, and I think Venusaur and Manual Sun is a really cool mod. Basically, like, not even just on Manual Sun, but Sun in general. What this one does best really is, you know, it has Chlorophyll, right? Doubles its speed in the sun, which is fantastic. And if you have a look at this mod, right, one of like the biggest things you kind of need to hit right now, is like these speed benchmarks for, you know, like Booster, for example, on Iron Bundle, and kind of Roaring Moon. Now, this one unfortunately does not outspeed Booster Bundle, but in Sun, a Timid Set will outspeed a Booster Moon, which is pretty damn cool. And especially when you pair it with things like Sleep Powder. I do think that is like a pretty good, you know, niche this one has. It also has a really good matchup into Fluttermane as well. Obviously, you know, in the Sun, you should outspeed almost any variant of it. You also get access to things like Sludge Bomb for if they ever go for Terra. Obviously, you've got things like Energy Ball as like one of your main stabs. I think it also gets Leaf Storm if I'm not... Yeah, it gets Leaf Storm as well. Another one too is Weather Ball as well. Weather Ball is another like really cool tech on this one. Especially because like the thing with like these grass types in, you know, Sun in particular, right, is they're weak to like fire moves, obviously. So Terra Fire is like naturally really good on them. And yes, I think we could definitely see a world where like Venusaur with like Weather Ball in the sun with Chlorophyll is really good. Life Orb is like honestly pretty decent. Focus Sash is obviously like really good as well. Even, you know, things like wide lens as well is like pretty solid. I think this mon, like, depending on how the meta kind of shakes up, right? And, you know, depending what isn't legal, you know, again, we could get home bans for all we know. Could definitely change things up, but even like a modest life orb set honestly doesn't look too bad on this mon. You know, it's just a great utility mon that can, you know, put on quite a bit of pressure. And I'm pretty excited for Venusaur, honestly. This is definitely one of my favorite returning mons. So I guess the next guy we'll take a look at here is big old Blastoise. Now, Blastoise, obviously a fan favorite. Biggest issue Blastoise has, honestly, in my opinion, is like kind of has a bad ability. Like Rain Dish isn't good, and then its stats are also just like really, really underwhelming, right? Like you start looking at this mon, right? It's got 85, 83, pretty bad. So like really, like it got Shell Smash, which is its like one major redeeming quality. But even then, like a +2 on this thing, even if it's timid, is like, you know, it's not outspeeding Booster Bundle, right? Which is probably gonna one-shot you. And even then, your attack stat is then like so low that it's like you don't want to run timid, you kind of want to run modest. And then again, like common, you know, tailwind partners are just going to outspeed you at this point if you go for the Shell Smash, which is kind of sad. But in saying that, though, 150 is still really solid. It's actually funny though, you still have technically less damage than a Guts boosted Ursaluna, which is kind of crazy. You're probably just going to run Torrent on this mon. Honestly, is it Power Herb I'm thinking of? I think it's Power. No, it's not Power Herb. Oh, what am I thinking? Not Mirror Herb. Dude, oh man, it was White Herb. That's it. Yeah, so like I think White Herb would definitely be the way to play this one. But then again, like it kind of just doesn't have the ability, right? Like you kind of want a Water Stab, and like Scald would be nice. Oh, I should probably just click Scald. Scald would be nice. Obviously, like Hydro Pump's like decent as well. And then it's like what do you want? Do you want like Ice Beam? Like what did like? I know it gets like Flash Cannon, Dark Pulse, Aura Sphere, and stuff like that. Yeah, it gets the Pulse moves. Like if this thing had its like Mega's ability, that would be really cool. I actually do plan on doing a video hopefully in the near future about, you know, what abilities I'd give to these guys, kind of similar to what Empoleon recently got. But you know, if they gave this thing like a Mega Launcher, then like all of a sudden, like, you know, like maybe like a Water Pulse or something could be decent on it, like Water Pulse, Dark Pulse, that kind of stuff. That's Water Pledge. That's besides the point. But yeah, look, I think Blastoise is an interesting mon. Even with Shell Smash, I just don't think it, you know, kind of lives up to the power creep. It really needs like a new ability and then like probably some better stats. Like it's too slow, it doesn't hit hard enough, and really its bulk is just subpar, sadly. Next guy, do we want to touch on Vileplume? Is there any, like, Vileplume is just like, honestly, it's just worse. How do you spell this? Vile. Dude, I can't English. Honestly, this thing is just like worse Venusaur. Like it's chlorophyll with like I guess its special attack's better. It's not as bulky. It's a lot slower. Like, dude, like, yeah, like what we're talking special attack, right? Timid. Yeah, dude, this ain't it, chief. This just ain't it, man. 112 when you're timid, and like you also like just yeah, no. You're not it, Chief. Sorry, you're not it. Doduo, no point in talking about you. Yeah, Dugon, you're pretty bad too. The Eggies are actually interesting though. Executor. This guy's kind of interesting. I don't think he's as good as his Alolan version. You know, like relatively slow. They're Trick Room setters, right? That actually like hit kind of hard, which I guess is like their you know, like one of their main things. But Alolan Eggy, on the other hand, is really interesting. If you look at this guy, he actually, you know, hits just as hard, but he has a really good like speed stat in the sense that like this mon is like slower than Iron Hands. It's slower than the Ursalunas, which means it definitely could have a place in Trick Room. You know, I believe it is a Trick Room setter as well, right? You didn't lose it. Harvest is like also really interesting in the sun because this mon's like deceptively bulky. Like its defensive stats like pretty average, but it has a really solid HP stat which makes up for it. And then again, you look at something like, you know, like this special attack stat, right? And then all of a sudden you just like factor in like Draco Meteor, you know, Leaf Storm, Trick Room, and then I don't know, like Protect or whatever you want, right? All of a sudden this one absolutely slaps. But yeah, these are like two really interesting Trick Room mons. I don't know how good they'll be, but I could definitely see a world where they're both like half decent, right? Hitmons, you're not the too good Hitmons. Rhydon, your evolution's better. Lapras, I don't think like Lapras does anything without its G-Max, unfortunately. Like maybe there's something I'm missing, but I doubt it. Meganium, you need like a type change, stat buff, move pool update, and then like Jesus if you want to do anything, sadly. For Ralligator, I absolutely love Feraligatr. Sadly, I don't really know what it's like doing. Like Sheer Force is cool. Like it's kind of like it needs to be like Sheer Force Dragon Dance with like Waterfall and stuff like that, but I don't know. It's like bulk's out. Its bulk's decent, I guess, but again, this speedster, like that's the biggest issue you're gonna find with a lot of these like older mons, right? Is like it's not statted for the power creeper today. Like, look at this. Jolly max speed at +1. You're still not outspeeding like a Sash Fluttermane, for example. And actually, that's a lie. I think you are outspeeding a Sash Fluttermane. Yeah, you would be outspeeding a Sash Fluttermane, because what that'd be? It'd be like 71 added onto that. So it'd be like 2. I mean, maybe you're like 1 point faster than Polt, I think, if my math's correct. But yeah, I don't know. It just feels like so average in metagames that are like so powerful while also having like so much speed control, right? It's like, it's too fast to be played in Trick Room. It's too slow to be played in like offensive Tailwind. It kind of just needs like a less powerful format. Blossom, I think it's kind of just in the same place as Vileplume, right? Blossom, I believe it's a chlorophyll mon that's like, yeah, 50 base speed. Just, I'm sorry, you're not good. Skarm in VGC, not good. If you're a singles player, Skarm coming back is interesting. Smeargle, I'm not going to go too in-depth on Smeargle. I feel like we all know what this mon does. It has like Moody, which is like really annoying. And it can run like Focus Sash, it can run Covered Cloak now. Can run Terra Ghost to be like really annoying. And it also just learns any move in the game. So it can get like Fake Out, you know, it can get like Spiky Shield. Like it gets whatever you want, right? It doesn't get Dark Void anymore, right? It shouldn't get Dark Void. The other one it might be able to get is Love. Oh, what am I doing? That's it. It should be able to get Lovely Kiss, which does target both Mons and it's 75% accurate. But that all comes down to whether or not I believe Jinx is actually in the game, right? We just go like Lovely Kiss. Yeah, it's literally just Jinx. Jinx is the only one. So maybe if Jinx comes back, which I mean, I'm pretty sure we just touched on these guys, right? Was Jinx confirmed here? Where are they? Yeah, so like Jinx isn't confirmed, but if Magmar's in the game, and spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure Electabuzz and Electivire both are as well. Then maybe there's a world where Jinx is back. But yeah, look, Smeargle, I could go like on and on about Smeargle. I feel like we all kind of know what it does at this point. It learns any move in the game, which is, you know, inherently busted. And Moody is an incredibly annoying ability to have to deal with. So yeah, Hitmontop. Hitmontop is going to come back and be like, you know, one of those mons kind of like vying for that Intimidate slot. Hitmontop offers something different than like what we have in all the other Intimidators right now, and that is like, it has Fake Out, right, which is pretty good. It also has Wide Guard, which I think is like obviously like fantastic, especially with mons like Fluttermane being available. I also think it gets like Bullet Punch. Like maybe there's a world where like Bullet Punch Terra Steel actually does something on this guy. Like, I don't know, maybe that's good. Like it hits kind of hard. It's like, honestly, this mon's like pretty well statted. Like its worst stat is its HP stat. The rest of its stats are like pretty decent. But yeah, you know, it also gets like close combat as well. Like that's another thing. Like I think like a normal set is going to be something like this, right? Like just like, you know, basically your utility moves plus CC just allows you to pump out damage. You got Intimidate, you can go things like Red Card and whatnot. So yeah, it's pretty good, right? Is it Red Card? Attack is forced. Attacker, no, it's not. It's a eject pack. Eject button, that one, sorry. Yeah, so that's not bad. You know, you like leave this, you Fake Out, they hit you, you get cycled out. Definitely not a bad mon. But there is one guy we'll talk about a bit later that might overshadow it. My guy Sceptile, my all-time favorite Pokemon. This mon won't be good, but you best believe I'm gonna do anything I can to make it good. My strategy with this guy is gonna be this. I'll give it to you guys now. Mirror Herb plus Unburden with a Swagger Prankster user. Like Swagger. Let's just. I mean, look, I'm just gonna put Grimmstyle in. I know Grimmstyle, that's it. For anyone, I guess, who doesn't know what this combo is, you know, raises the target's attack by 2 stages and confuses it. You know, you like Swagger a Fluttermane or something, and then like you confuse it, you get +2, and then you just pray to God like your Leaf Blade kills it. If you want to, you could run like special, but like don't run special, I don't think. Like I don't even like, it really comes down to what this mon gets, honestly. Like its physical move pool is not bad. I think it gets Acro as well, right? Yeah, maybe like Terraflying Acrobatics is the play, please. Is that it? Terraflying Acro? Like Terraflying Acro, Leaf Blade, you're going like Protect here for sure. And then like, I don't know, maybe something else in this slot. Whatever, like what can't you hit? You don't hit Steel type, so that makes up for it. I mean, maybe like, yeah, Steel and Electrics. Like, so maybe that is just the fucking play. I don't know. Do you get any other ground coverage? That's, okay, that's not what I wanted. Bulldoze, Dig, yeah, maybe it is just EQ. I don't know, something like that. I don't think the one's good, but you best believe I'll be trying it. Blaziken's actually really interesting with Terra as well. Blaziken's like, what Blaziken is gonna like really need is like a good support, and then it's just gonna need to like, you know, speed boost up like 3 times with the Swords Dance, and then eventually pray it sweeps through. Because like Blaziken's issue is like, it needs these two, yeah, and then it needs like Flare Blitz, it probably wants blitz and then like close combat or like high jump kick, whatever. But this one after like 2 boosts could actually be like pretty decent. Like how, if I'm like adamant max, what's that? +2 I'd get, it feels like you'd almost need +3 in certain situations. But I mean, in saying that too, you probably don't need all this attack, right? You could probably just go like 76 adamant and then just like try your best to invest in bulk, but I don't know if it would actually matter. But in saying that, maybe Terra saves this mon. Definitely a cool mon though. I love Blazin, so I'll definitely try it out at some point. I'm just not too sure how good this mon's going to be. Swampert, funny enough, while it is like arguably the best starter of all time in terms of like playthroughs, I think it's just a bad VGC mon. Or I don't want to say bad, it's just average, right? Like it's really bulky, it hits pretty hard, but it's just slow, and it's like I don't really think it offers like, it doesn't offer that much utility, right? Like what's it got? Like Bolt Curse, yeah, it's whatever. Like Yawn, I guess. Like Yawn spam's decent, and like that's about it. Like maybe Wide Guard Yawn? I don't know, like maybe it's a decent support. Like, and I really like Swampert. I love all of the Gen 3 starters. I just think it's pretty average. Flygon won't see much play. Milotic is already back. Metagross is actually a really interesting one. Metagross, like having clear body in this format's like really good. Obviously intimidates everywhere. Also like Icy Wind is pretty popular right now, and it could definitely go, be pretty popular going forward. But the main thing is this is a base 135 attack mon with a access to Bullet Punch. And as I'm sure we're all aware, the most popular mon in the game right now is Fluttermane. Brian Hands is also a really good mon, and this guy gets things like Zen Headbutt. So I could definitely see a world where Metagross is good. Like having clear body is like super nice, right? Because like you think about like all the bullet punch mons that want to take on Fluttermane, you're talking about things, like for example, Scizor, right? Who dies to a lot of the meta game. Like it's kind of forced to Terra a lot just because of how many good fire types there are. And then on top of that, right, like Intimidate just beats it because it's like you kind of force it into a clear amulet. Whereas Metagross, on the other hand, it's like, its HP is decent, its attack and defense are really good, special defense pretty solid, speed stat is like pretty average, right? But this is definitely a mon where I think you could play this with like, weakness policy. You could also play it with like Assault Vest. Really just depends on what your team needs. And then you could also just like run a defensive Terror, right? Like ideally you would probably get rid of like the weakness to like grounded fire moves. I'm trying to think what would be good on this. Like water's like not bad, I guess. Grass, poison's also not it. I can't, off the top of my head, I'm actually not too sure what the best Terra for this guy would be. I feel like Terra Water is just like really neutral. But obviously it comes down to like, what's popular in the metagame and what's not. Like Dragon's like always an option. Maybe like Fairy even is not bad. You honestly, even like Terra Psychic, Terra Blast could like maybe see some play. I don't know. But yeah, I think Metagross will definitely be decent. It's definitely really good. I think it'll be really good next to Chien-Pao. Like, Bullet Punch off like even like Banded would, like do a lot of damage, right? Like Terra Steel Banded, like next to Chien-Pao. That'd do a lot of damage. I'm not gonna lie. Rampardos, love this mon, not good. Same with Bastiodon. Rhyperior on the other hand, this is someone that could definitely be really, really interesting. One thing like Rhyperior is like always really good at is like being really bulky, and then just like playing it with like weakness policy. And like similar to, I guess, kind of how it was in early Sword and Shield. Like in early Sword and Shield, it loved the fact that it's like absurdly high HP stat. It was like being doubled. It doesn't have that, luxury in the, like the upcoming format, but I do think Terra being able to like get rid of some of its weaknesses will be good. And I could definitely see a world where this mon, with like Bulldoze under Trick Room, will actually be really damn good. Because obviously it has this absurd attack stat, right? So like, if we go like level 50, you talk about putting a weakness policy on this thing. Like, look how hard this thing hits, man. Like, you get this thing to +2 and it's like, it's a wrap, right? It's really, really hard. Its speed stat's pretty low. Again, it underspeeds like a lot of what's popular. The biggest issue is going to be like, we know Expanding Forces coming back and things like Hat could be really good. And Hat in terrain underspeeds this thing and probably just nukes it. Which is definitely going to be one of the bigger issues I think the Rhyperior definitely has to deal with. Next up here, we have Superior, the Jamie Boyd Classic. I actually do love Superior. Contrary is like a really cool ability, and especially when you pair that with like Leaf Storm, which is like really nice. But this one is just like, it's kind of like a fast, bulky mon, yeah? Like, I could see a world where you're running something like, Glare, Sub, like Protect, right? Like, you go like Glare, Sub, Protect. Even like something like this could be like decent, Leech Seed, like, so that's not bad, right? It has Terra for like defensive stuff. Like, Leftovers is like pretty good on this mon. Like, Superior kind of just wants to, like, stay alive, and kind of threaten, like, hey, I can click the Leaf Storm, but, like, you've also got to remember, like, you actually don't hit hard at all, right? If you go to, like, level 50, this thing hits, like, a wet noodle, and you kind of want to invest in speed, so, like, you add speed things, but, like, at the same time, you also want to invest in bulk, so it's, like, It's kind of this awkward game where it's like you want to be bulky, you want to be fast, but like you kind of struggle to do both. But maybe there's a world where you just like, is like that the stat spread? I mean, honestly, I don't know. It's a weird one. I definitely think Superior could be cool, especially with Defensive Terror. The biggest thing is like, how long is this mon going to be like alive for and be annoying for, right? Like, because the thing is like, second you get up one Leaf Storm, it's like, okay, you're like hitting like a Flutter Mane. But then if you get another one up, then it's like, okay, now we're talking, right? If I'm +4 my Superior, now I'm doing some damage. Not to mention, like, you could even run like Wide Lens on this thing, actually. I don't know how good that is, because like, you know, you kind of, I mean, you're clicking these two moves, they're both 90% accurate. I don't know, maybe there's a world where that's actually good. But I feel like lefties with like, with Seed is just too good with sub. But yeah, Silph's definitely a cool mon. Would love to see what it could do. Embor, I'm a huge fan of Embor. This is like one of those starters that just got like absolutely ruined stats wise though. Like, why do you have this mon with a really good HP stat, really good attack stat, you know, and then it's like, oh, I've got this special attack stat that's never getting used. And I've also got like arse defenses and speed. It's, I don't know, dude. If this was like, I don't know, 40 less points and these were all like, I don't know, 10 more or something, and then like put the other 10 in attack, because why doesn't this thing have the best attack stat out of all the starters? I don't know. Maybe it could be like half decent. That's the wrong one. Zeb Striker, you're probably just bad. Whimsicott, you are one of my favorite Pokemon returning in this. Absolutely love Whimsicott. Prankster Tailwind, boys. It is the fastest Prankster Tailwind one as well we have, if you don't include our good friend Talonflame, I believe, who is 10 points faster, I think. But the cool thing with Whimsicott is it outspeeds our good friend Tornadus with a timid nature. You run this up and bang, all of a sudden we are faster than Tornadus and we have access to Taunt. What does that mean? It means they may be forced to run Mental Herb, which means they probably also have to run Ghost, which means they're just not as flexible. Yeah, like sure you can stop taunts, yeah, sure you can stop, you know, the fake outs, but all of a sudden, you know, having to Terra your support mon doesn't necessarily feel the best. But in saying that, I think going into, you know, a more balanced format, maybe tearing your support mons actually will be better. But Whimsicott, really cool. You know, Fake Tears is like fantastic. I'm a huge fan of Chi-Yu. So, you know, Fake Tears plus Chi-Yu does actually sound absolutely disgusting, I'm not gonna lie. And then even just like a Moonblast off this mon, while it doesn't hit that hard, you know, again, you pair this up with our good friend Chi-Yu, and all of a sudden these Moonblasts actually might be doing a little bit of damage. And another cool thing I think mods like Whimsicott get as well is like, obviously, one, you have access to things like Terra Ghost, which is really good for fake out, but then there's also just like Cover Cloak. Yeah, like not being able to fake me out anymore. We don't know how Upper Hand works as well, because there's like a theory going around that Upper Hand might be able to stop things like Tailwind. So again, bang, Cover Cloak, fantastic. I'm super excited for this mon. It has a really deep bag, like even things like Encore, right? Like there's a lot this one can do as a support, especially as the fastest, you know, Tailwind support. So yeah, I'm super excited for Whimsicott and I cannot wait to use it. Reuniclus. I think Reuniclus is one of the mons that is speculated. Yeah, there we go. This is one of the ones that is speculated to be getting Expanding Force back, which is really interesting. I think the biggest issue a mon like Reuniclus has though as a Expanding Force mon is this speed stat right here at 30 base speed is 1 point higher than Hat. And Hat also has the fairy typing. So yeah, I'm sorry Reuniclus. You're probably not good enough. I'm sorry. But look, it should hopefully get Expanding Force back. What are the like special moves you actually have? Like, I'm just trying to think. Like, I know it gets like energy. Yeah, it gets energy ball. I also know it gets focus blast, flash cannon. Like, I guess it actually has a decent pool. Like, I don't know. Is there like a world where like, nah, like, Calm Mind plus stored power is not good enough? Like, is there like a weakness policy Calm Mind? Is that it? Is that the source? Acid armor too? Hold on. Maybe that's the source. Stored power. I don't know. I unfortunately I love this mon, like ever since like the black and white days. Absolutely love Reuniclus, especially in singles. And then you know you obviously get like Magic Guard, like I don't know, Life Orb or something. But sadly, I just don't think this mon will be that good. But I am excited to at least test it. Golurk's not great. The Meowsticks are like interesting. I'm pretty sure, like I know they get screens. But yeah, you're the prankster guy here. So you get this, and then I know you get like a light screen and reflect, obviously. What are the status moves they actually get? Because I haven't used this thing. Like it gets ally switch too, actually. Yeah, because I haven't used this thing in ages. I remember T-Way being pretty popular on it. Like Yawn Charm, Fake Tears. Okay, I didn't actually know I got Fake Tears. Helping Hand in Prison. I'm pretty sure it gets Trick Room as well. Skill Swap, PogChamp. Take the Dondozo's, what's it called? Actually, you can't take it. What am I saying? I guess you can take it's unaware. But yeah, look, this one actually does get a lot of interesting moves. But unfortunately for it, I think Whimsicott being back kind of just like is too good. Also, it's slower than Tornadus. Maybe if they gave this thing like 10 more speed and it was faster than Tornadus, maybe it could have a place. But yeah, interesting one to say the least. Malamar, Contrary is cool. Malamar isn't. And then boys, we're finally here. Oh yes, are you ready for this? Incineroar. Now, I'm sure all of you are looking at this as they got Incin, bad mon. We all know it's bad, right? It gets Intimidate, dude. It's like Intimidate's not that good. Gets Fake Out, you know. Bloody, you know, Hitmon top had Intimidate Fake Out. It's whatever, right? You know, obviously it needs like the eject pack just to like pivot out, you know. So like, this thing has Parting Shot. It's not that, you know, U-turn. It's not that good, I guess, you know, whatever. It's like, oh, like a Stab Flare Blitz, you know, off like a 115. It's, I guess, decent, right? Like, you know, you're not gonna say no to it. It also gets things like Style, you know, it's just, again, this one's decent, yeah. It has a few things it can do, right? You know, it's like Bulk Up if you want to cheese some best on one ladder and whatnot. You know, it's okay. Knockoff as well. Knockouts offers like a pretty good, you know, tech. I'm not gonna lie. You know, even if like things like, you know, our good friend Dondozo is decent, you know, maybe Darkest Lariat, ignoring those defense buffs, you know, maybe there's something it could do there, you know, like I think it gets, you know, it gets Will-O-Wisp as well. That's like kind of interesting. Taunt, you know. Oh, another one I didn't even touch on, you know, you talk about, you know, Incins with, you know, Incins that are like running Snarl, like it also gets like Throat Chop, you know, it's like a, I don't know, this one's decent, right? It's just decent, yeah. It has a few things it can do, you know, just like, you know, probably the best Pokemon in the format. Primarina. Primarina is like good as long as Tapu Fini doesn't exist. This one has a place, hits pretty hard. Liquid Voice though is like, the sad thing with Liquid Voice is like, if it was just like, you know, Aerialate where it got the damage boost, because like that's the issue, right? It doesn't get the damage boost like Sylveon does, right? If you have a look at Pixelate, like Pixelate, I'm pretty sure, let me just like pull Sylveon up here so we can see them next to each other, right? So Pixelate gives it that 1.2 times boost. Like obviously that's like normal moves. Like this one gets Hyper Voice, right? And like, it's like, oh yeah, bang, that's like a, you know, a stab spread move, yeah? But like, I feel like it kind of needs that plus like 1.25 to make it like, you know, cool. But you know, it's also like a fairy type, so it gets like Moonblast. I think it gets Calm Mind, right? Yeah, like this one's decent, yeah. Like it's like its speed is okay to a point where you could play it in like a hybrid like Trick Room Tailwind team. And it's like Special Bulk is also like really nice. Its main issue is it's just average physical bulk, but like I'm sure with, you know, like an Intimidate Mon, a bit of like investment here, and then like just a decent, you know, maybe like is like something like this good? Like could you go like this and then just like run like that? I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with this one to really, you know, make comments like this. But yeah, who knows? Maybe like that's the play. Maybe that's the source there, guys. Like something like that. Calm Mind. I don't know. Protect here. Get our leftovers on it. Like, because like the thing with this mon, right, is like it's actually pretty decent into guys like, you know, the Urshifus, for example, right? It's like what a very hard walls boost Shifus, right? Because like you've got the, you know, the water type is there to resist the, obviously the opposing water type, and then the fairy type opposes the fighting and the dark type, yeah. So it's pretty good. Primarina, like maybe it'll see some play. I guess to round things off here too, we've only got like 3 mons. I absolutely love Toucannon. This one is like really cool. I'm glad it's back. The issue is it just does nothing in VGC, right? Like it's just like, you know, like average, like it's decent, right? Like, you know, I kind of wish it was a bit faster. Skill Link's kind of cool. Sheer Force is also kind of cool. Hits pretty damn hard. It's just slow as shit and has average bulk. So that's basically Toucannon for you. Alcremie is cool too, because like Alcremie, right? He can decorate some cakes. Yeah? Its signature move, Decorate. Kind of cool, yeah. Giving, you know, an ally +2/+2 is always pretty PogChamp. It also hits pretty damn hard and, you know, has pretty good special bulk. This guy just needs, you know, like, I don't know, something like, is this the play? The Scarf. I have not actually tested this since the start of Sword and Shield. So I have no idea how it actually goes in like better formats, but like it doesn't even get Moonblast, it doesn't look cool, right? Yeah. So I don't know, Decorate's a cool ability. Sorry, cool move. That's all I'm gonna say. Sweet Veil also really good for, you know, stopping your mons from going to sleep, which is pretty cool. And then, you know, Aroma Veil also, you know, half decent, right? It stops things like Taunt and whatnot, which I think is actually pretty good on a Trick Room team, right? Like, you could lead this next to like a Trick Room setter and then maybe just like buff up the Trick Room setter as they go Trick Room or something. I don't know, but definitely a cool mon. And I guess finally, just to round things out here, Duraludon. Duraludon, another mon I actually really love. I use this guy a lot back in some draft leagues in early Sword and Shield. I think the biggest issue Duraludon's gonna have is the fact that it already has a confirmed evolution. So yeah, anything this mon could do, its evolution's probably gonna just do better. But I guess like one cool thing about it is like it used to love Assault Vest because it's like special defense stat is so garbage, and like every other stat's decent, right? You kind of want like max HP, yeah? And then it's like, oh, like you just run like an AV to like buff this up, you know, get some like special attack going, all that kind of crap. But you're gonna be able to run a Violite going forward, which is kind of cool. It's like better Assault Vest than a mon like this. Its ability is also like sick, not being able to be redirected. It gets things like Flash Cannon, also gets obviously like Draco Meteor. So yeah, like Duraludon's like cool. I just think it's like evolution is just gonna be better. It also has a really nice speed set actually. You can kind of play in that like that Trick Room without much investment. And then I don't know, something like that maybe. But yeah, Duraludon, you know, cool mon. I'd love to see what it's going to do. But I guess the final takeaway, before I kind of wrap up this video here, is Instin's coming back. Going to be one of the best ones in the format. Whimsicott is coming back. I love it. I'm going to spam it. Probably take it to Brisbane. I'll let you guys know that in, you know, a couple months in advance here. Metagross could definitely be cool. I pray to God the Gen 3 starters can all do something. I love them. Hitmon, Smeagol, both like going to have a solid niche, I think. And then probably just my guy Venusaur. As I said, I do know there's a lot more mons that have been, you know, like leaked or, you know, data mined or whatnot. Like things like P2, PZ are both coming back, I'm pretty sure. I can't think of anything else really good that's not on this list off the top of my head, but there's a bunch of stuff. But yeah, anyway, guys, I guess that's it for this one. I've probably rambled on far too long here for a format that is still over a month away. But yeah, I guess anyway, guys, let me know what you think down below. Is there any, you know, any mons you want banned? You know, specific things in the format you don't really want to see? Let me know down below. Yeah, anyway, catch you guys in the next one. Peace.